Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in as always. In this video, I'm going to show you guys a new custom that I picked up this last month. This is a new model / new version from custom knife maker Craig Brown, who I've covered fairly extensively on the channel. I think I've done a video on all of his models up to this point. I owned a parabolic, I owned a servo. He then had the Exponent as a front flipper and a thumb stud version. I at least showed that on the channel. I didn't own that model. And then he came out with the LHC model, which is essentially this model, but it had a fuller in the blade and a few other design tweaks. And then due to customer demand, he brought out the LHC-X, which is the model you see before you here. So essentially it's just the LHC, and primarily the fuller that was in the blade towards the top has been removed. You guys can see pictures of that first version on his Instagram or on his website, but he removed the fuller and did this version due to customer demand. And at that point, that's when this model really came together for me, was with this particular version, the LHC-X. So I do have two here to show you. This purpled carbon fiber one is mine, and then this really nice Damasteel and micarta version he just sent me to take a look at. I definitely want to get this back to him soon, because I don't know if this one's going to be in his sale coming up on January 31st, 2020, but anyways, don't want to hold on to it for too long. So anyways, let's jump into the specs real quick, and then I'll show you guys what it ships with and so on and so forth. We have the Kershaw Dividend as always here for size comparison. And the Dividend is fairly close in size, honestly, to the LHC-X. Let's grab the Para 2. Yeah, we'll put that one here. Para 2 is a good bit longer, essentially. So anyways, blade length on this one is about 3.35 inches. Handle length is 4.37. Overall, I've got 7.72 inches. The blade stock is coming in at 150 thousandths thick. Here it is next to the Dividend, and then let me show you guys. Here it is next to the Para 2, and then behind the edge, thickness behind the edge, which I measured with my calipers, came in at 20 thousandths thick. So the blade stock is a tiny bit thicker than the Para 2, but it is thinner behind the edge than the Para 2. So you know, that this full flat grind definitely comes down to a nice thinner edge. So weight is just about 3.3 on both these models, whether it's the carbon fiber or the micarta. Let's see what other specs. So we do have a liner lock with the stainless steel insert. It does run on Craig's double row bearings, and it does use a ceramic detent ball. You guys can see how smooth that is. It is a flipper, of course, and yeah, it does have a 3D milled pocket clip and pretty cool back spacers. So anyways, those should be the specs for the most part. Price, let's sure, we'll throw that in with the specs. It can range anywhere from $750, which would be well, maybe like a G10 version, all the way up to like $1,200, such as for this micarta and Damasteel and Timastis clip version. So really the sky's the limit. He's done, you know, full like Timastis overlays before and Damasteel, so he can get really fancy on these, and obviously that would probably push it up over $1,200. But anyways, that's the price range as of January 2020. If you're watching this in the future, who knows? The cost of materials go up, cost of manufacturing goes up, inflation, what have you. So again, just a point-in-time reference in terms of price. All right, let's move some of these out of the way. As much as I love this Damasteel and micarta one, which I really do, I mean, Craig sent this along for me just to check out, and it really did make me kind of second-guess my own choices, which I was very specific on and I really wanted, but whew, this thing is just stunning. Let me show you guys some up close real quick. We're gonna move this one out of the way because it almost camouflages against my wood background here. So let me give you guys an up close here. As you can see, this micarta has a ton of grip. Obviously there's the mill pattern, as you guys can see, kind of concentric half circles. And then he did bead blast it, you know, after the machine texture here, so tons of grip. I think he did some flat milling underneath the pocket clip here as well, which is a nice touch. But man, what an amazing combination. Now, for me personally, I probably wouldn't have gone Timastic clip on this thing. I probably would have just gone a satin. I think it would tie in a bit better, but different strokes for different folks. And also the way he etches Damasteel. There's different ways to do it, and you get different, you can polish it more or less, you can hold it in acid longer or shorter, you can use different types of acid, but I think the way he finishes Damasteel is perfect. I mean, it is just gorgeous finishing work on Damasteel. Again, you look at different makers, they will finish it differently, but this is outstanding. So anyways, this one needs to go back sooner rather than later. We're going to leave mine out here, since it's mine, it's the one I carried, and it does seem to hold up a little bit better against the background here. So purple carbon fiber. This stuff comes out of Russia. I think it was carbon plate. I don't remember at this very moment, but he did source some carbon fiber, just a little bit, through his friend Bill Koenig, which he used to make this knife. So he's got a couple in the purple that are going up for the near drop in the near future, and then he had some in gold carbon fiber, which were also absolutely stunning. So anyways, all right, let me show you guys what it ships with real quick, because it's always a question. And oh, I do need to show you guys this as well. So it does ship in a branded Pelican style case. You do have a certificate of authenticity and a sticker, and this one is number 87. So blade steel CPM 154, 6L4V. He's listing lock bars 416 stainless steel, and I think he said, don't quote me on this, but everything's hardened to 60. He does test his blades quite frequently, so should be looking at a 60 here on the Rockwell hardness scale for all of his knives. I think he said the differential was like 0.02, so he stays very, very consistent with his process. And one other change, I did have him do a custom, I had him tumble my pocket clip to match my blade. Really big on stonewash finishes, but all of his knives should come with a pocket clip that actually has his logo on it. So this will be the norm. Mine was, I don't know, perhaps an experiment since I asked him to stonewash it, but I think it just matches the blade perfectly. So anyways, that's what it ships with. That's what the clips look like. Let's get into this in kind of the details I want to share with you guys here. So again, CPM 154, 60 on the Rockwell scale, just about a full flat grind here. He does have a really short secondary bevel on this thing, but it is very, very sharp, and it is a thinner blade stock and pretty thin behind the edge. So jimping up top of the blade, moderately effective. This is a smaller knife overall, a 3.3 inch blade, so this is a nice daily carry piece. I would not consider this a tactical knife, although in the right situation, a pencil could be tactical, so you do what you need to do. The plunge line, I love how it integrates with the frame. I'm quite particular on plunge lines. I hate ones that are really far forward and leave a huge flat before the frame. So anyways, I like the way that this is executed. It is in line with my design preferences. So he does have a custom pivot that he mills out, obviously Torx hardware, and action. I mean, it's a smaller blade. It's not a heavy blade, but the action is stupid good. Here is the jimping on the flipper tab. Love the geometry, you know, a good 45 degree. My only critique, and this is one I talked to him about, is I wish the jimping was a little bit sharper. He said he'd have to redesign and maybe go from 3 to 2. He's going to look at that. If you get your thumb, or your first finger, I'm sorry, completely on the flipper tab, you'll have no problem flipping it. If you get lazy or you're kind of up top, you know, you're not going to hit it every time. So if your finger's fully on there, you should be just fine. And again, this isn't a tactical knife. This is, in my opinion, just a really nice daily carry. And that was essentially the design inspiration for this one. I said, you know, the parabolic, his first one was an integral, very ambitious, huge knife, heavy. The servo was a frame lock flipper, you know, larger, 3.75. I was like, what was the design intention behind this one? And he said, you know, he prefers what I guess we can call just a traditional or standard flipper tab. He wanted a little bit smaller knife, something that he would carry daily. And so this was a design that he did for himself. And as we talked about, the first model, the LHC, had a fuller. Due to customer demand saying, hey, can you make them without a fuller, the LHC-X was born. So pretty cool stuff. So we've got the titanium frame here underneath the carbon fiber overlays. Everything's chamfered, no sharp edges. Flipper tabs chamfered. I cannot get down and touch the edge of that blade at all, so to me that's totally fine. And the way he finishes the carbon fiber is pretty unique. It's got some nice texture. It's got really nice iridescence to it. Backspacer he machined out, super cool. Lots of detail, looks really nice. And then again, the pocket clip is perfect. The size and weight of this knife is right at the edge, but I can carry it in slacks, which again makes me really happy since I'm in slacks 5 out of 7 days these days at least. So let's take a look here. There's that pocket clip. I like how it kind of matches the back of the frame. Again, it's always nice when things tie in well. We've got the screw here for the stainless steel lock insert. You guys can see there, which again, I'm always a big fan of. And then he did a nice cutout here. So inside, USA. He is based out of, I think it's Blaine, Washington. Oh, and inside a little bit further, that's actually what it says behind USA. It says Blaine, Washington, USA. And then here on this side, it says LHC. So again, super cool. He did some additional milling here in the backspacer just to make sure the blade doesn't touch. Now the blade to handle isn't perfect, you know, due to the design, but I would much rather have, you know, a little bit of space left than something that cuts you when it's closed. So again, running my finger long, I've got my finger squished in there, not touching the edge of the blade, super important. So anyways, I'm really happy to see this model because again, some of his prior models were perhaps a bit more eclectic in terms of design. Even the Exponent was perhaps more an eclectic design, and I think just the simplicity of this model here makes it a model that I think a lot of people will try his work for the first time. It's just a bit more universal. So for those of you guys who've been on the fence about his work, here's probably the model to try if you haven't been sure yet. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. Quite honestly, it's his best model yet in terms of just all the little refinements and the details. Great size, great carry, nice slicer, performs really well, great materials. And the prices, you know, for what you're getting are fairly reasonable. You know, at $750 for a CNC, you know, made knife, made by one guy in his garage. He does his own bearings, all those sorts of things. That's pretty good. Some of the comparable custom makers out there are certainly charging closer to an entry price of maybe $1,100. So he's still at a pretty affordable price for, again, what we'll call a custom CNC knife. So anyways, I think that's pretty much it for this one. Again, I'm super stoked to have it. I love this model. I've carried it quite a bit recently since getting it. And if you're interested in his work, the best way to follow him is on Instagram. I will have a link in the description box below. And he will be dropping these. He'll make a batch, you know, maybe, I don't know how many, let's just say 5 to 10. And then they all go up for sale at the same time on his website on a particular day. He will tell you guys ahead of time. So again, as I mentioned, the next batch is going up for sale on the 31st of January here in 2020. He will have one purple like this, just like this one. Actually, I don't know what the blade finish or the pot clip looks like, but anyways, it's got the same purple carbon fiber scales, which is pretty cool. This configuration ran me $850 because, again, this carbon fiber is special and hard to source. So anyways, if you follow him on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm also at Big Snuggle Bunny. And thanks so much for watching, guys. I have a lot more videos to do, so stay tuned. More to come.